For me, the Master System is a treasure trove of potential forgotten games just waiting to be rediscovered. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but here in the UK, the Master System's library is incredibly undervalued. This is great for retro gamers who want to take a chance on the cheap for an unknown game. Let's pick up one of these games and see what we get. Ah, Lord of the Sword. This could be a good game, or maybe not. So let's find out in this week's review of Lord of Sword for the Sega Master System. When I first dived into Lord of Sword, not literally, my first impressions were really good. It's visually heads above the average Master System game, even though it does reuse the same scenery over and over again. That didn't bother me because the backgrounds are interesting to look at, and the gameplay did a good job of breaking them up so you were never seeing the same scenery for too long. Soundtrack wise, it's kind of the same deal as the graphics, a few really good tunes that are thankfully broken up by the gameplay, as this prevents them from becoming repetitive, and trust me, any longer than a few minutes of listening to them would soon get on your nerves. I can't talk about the music without mentioning the sound effects. There is no delicate way to say this, so I'm just going to be brutally honest. I thought my ears were going to start bleeding from listening to them. Just listen for yourself. Need I say any more? Let me pause this review for a moment. When I started to seriously play this game, I kept hitting a wall that prevented me from getting past the third part of it. And that's a shame because I really wanted to complete this to do a complete in-depth review of it. And this dilemma left me with two choices. Either give up playing the game and play something else to potentially review, or review it anyway and to be honest with the problems I had and why I couldn't get any further in this game because of them. I'm going with the second choice, so let's unpause the review. The best way to explain how far I got would be to look at the map. No, not that one. Yep, that's the one. This one on GameFAQ.com does require some imagination to use, but it's way more helpful than the in-game map, and also has a legend so you know where everything is. This game could have used a fold-out map like they did in GTA, but since I only have the loose carts, I've got no way of knowing if this game did in fact come with a map, but I highly doubt it. Let's follow the journey I took in Lord of the Sword on this map, and once I get as far as I can go, I'll explain why I couldn't go any further. So I start the game out at the village of Hartford, and from there I proceed east to Amon. From there I speak to the old wizard who gives me a magic book and tells me to go to Elmon Forest. Just to warn anyone attempting this game, there is one enemy that will always try to steal this special magic book. Even if they do manage to get it, it's just a matter of waiting for them to reappear in the same screen and just kill them once again to reacquire the book. From Amon, I travel to Castle Varlon, and from there I head north. Once I made it to Elmon Forest, I talk to the Torque who tells me I need to go to the Tree Spirit. Thanks to the old wizard's bad directions, I now have some serious backtracking to do. So I head back south again to Castle Varlon, and then from there I head west back to Amon, and from Amon I head north to Parzona. In Parzona I talk to some guy who says there are no brave men, and says some other story related stuff, but to be honest I didn't pay much attention to him as the story text didn't hold my attention, and I was only paying attention to the text that told me where to go and what to do next. I didn't expect a decent or even a compelling story from Lord of Sword, so it's not something I hold against this game. Retro gaming is fun for many reasons, but usually the story isn't one of them. Well, anyway, from Parzona I head west to the Tree Spirit to fight the boss there. After that I head east and then go up north, and from there I head east again to Atal. Once I make it to Atal, I talk to another old dude, and then from there I head east to the Swamp Spirit where I meet my demise. But before you get to the Swamp Spirit you have to go through a mountain stage, then a swamp one, and finally an underground one, and this was as far as I could get in this game. I tried 3 times to get further in this bit, but I can never get past the underground stage, the bit just before you reach the Swamp Spirit. And why is that? I have 2 reasons why. Reason 1, the enemies. You could put the enemies into 2 groups, avoidable and non-avoidable. There is nothing in the middle. So if my hypothesis is correct, that would mean as you progress in this journey, you'll be taking hits all the time that you really can't avoid, and they all soon tally up. If you're close to a village, you can always backtrack there and talk to an old geezer who replenishes some of your health each time you talk to him. and after a few chats you're good to go again. But if you're too far away from the nearest village, then you won't be able to make it back there in time before your health runs out. And what are some of the enemies that will repeatedly drain your health? Well, you have the huge eyeball that doesn't really go after you, and with a few arrows you can easily take them out. Then you have the crazy Indians that are a pushover if you know how to deal with them. As soon as you see them, just step aside to the right, and as they reappear, attack them with your sword. And it's the same for the birds. When you see them, just duck and attack them when they come around for their second pass. And this is where my advice on dealing with the enemies comes to an end, as the rest of the enemies don't seem to have any pattern, and this makes working out how to avoid their attacks difficult. You really need to be one step ahead and not trying to react to them. Because your character moves very slowly, and the only way to successfully avoid their attacks is to know where your enemies will be and be in the right place to attack them, while also avoiding their attacks, and in the process conserve your health. But it's okay, because when you die, and often you will, you return to the last stage you're at, and your infinite continues, right? Not quite. Reason 2. Lack of continues. I honestly thought there were infinite continues, as you never see a continues counter, and that normally means you have unlimited continues, because if you didn't, this game would show you a counter at some point with your remaining continues, so you could better pace yourself and try to reduce the frequency of your continuing. This is pretty basic stuff. And at a random, or what feels like a random point, you die and have to restart the beginning of the game, and this single-handedly breaks the game. Before this point, I could have forgiven almost every flaw in this game, because with patience and determination, you could power through this to complete it and be left with a fairly satisfying retro fix. But that's only if you had all you could eat continues. I'm guessing there's about 10 continues give or take, and you'd think that's enough, but that's not the case. So, my final thoughts. There's nothing wrong with the odd flaw, as it can add character to a game. When those very flaws are the reason why you can't play, or let alone finish a game, you have to face reality. When you pick a random game out of a box that you've never played before, you are taking a chance. But thankfully, I pulled out more gems than turds. But sadly, on this occasion, I had to give this game the thumbs down. So, my parting words: if you pulled out a turd and felt dejected, then just dive right back in again, because next game you pull out can't be any worse, and who knows, next time round you may find a gem. See you next time, and happy gaming!